Oh, we don't have Matthew. Oh, we have
Do we have a, here, do we need, you can do it.
Shabbat Shalom and Chag Sameach. We're literally on the border between Shabbat and this Chag of Shavuot that we are celebrating on this evening. I'm so delighted to welcome all of you. The border means we have to bid farewell to Shabbat before we can join in welcoming this festival of Shavuot, which our confirmands will lead us through. And so I want to invite you first. I'm going to invite Cantor Cates, she is up there, and our temple president, Iris Weinman, to come forward and join me, and they will be the ones holding the Havdalah symbols as we make the blessings that help us to bid farewell to Shabbat and enter into a week which will begin for all of us in celebration of one of the most sanctified days of the Jewish year, this holiday of Shavuot. And so with that in mind, you can see we have three symbols. One of them is the Kiddush cup filled with the fruit of the vine, a symbol of the sweetness of Shabbat. The spice box that Cantor Case is holding includes the spices, which are to be a reminder of the uniqueness and the fragrance of Shabbat. And the beautiful Havdalah candle that Iris is holding with its multiple wicks creates an especially beautiful and memorable flame for us to carry forward the brilliance of Shabbat for all time. And so we'll make three blessings for each of those symbols and a final blessing for the actual act of Havdalah, the act of separating between Shabbat and the new week. And then we'll begin our celebration of Shavuot evening. And so the melody for this Havdalah service is very, very simple. A lot of you have sung it with us before on other occasions. If you have not sung it with us before, the good news is you'll be able to pick it up pretty quickly. And all the blessings begin with the familiar formula. I'll make sure you have the endings for each of those blessings so that you can join with us in singing all throughout. Please join with us. Baruch atah Mashiach ben David, Eliyahu Eliyahu Hatishbi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Hagiladi. Shavuot Tov. May this be a good week, a week that I know will have more than a good beginning, a great, truly blessed beginning as we all share together in welcoming this Shavuot evening. It is my pleasure to introduce the president of Leo Beck Temple, Iris Weidman.
It is my privilege to welcome all of you to our Shavuot service, led by and honoring our current confirmation class of 5782. Being here tonight brings me joy on so many different levels. First, of course, being able to be here on this bima at a congregation-wide service with a live studio audience. It's been a long time. Also, in addition to being a proud temple president, I'm also a proud parent of a confirmand. My son Yona is one of the students being confirmed today. Yona started at Leo Beck Temple in his religious school education when he was just 1 year old. And he and I joined the Parent and Me program. And he's been here ever since. And along the way, he was joined by this incredible group of kids that have all grown up together at Leo Beck Temple. And just as Yona gets to celebrate this special milestone with his friends and fellow confirmands, I get to celebrate this special milestone with my friends and fellow parents. We have been through so much together. We've celebrated Shabbat and holidays. We've celebrated so many milestone events together, both in the temple and outside the temple. We've planned events together. We have worked on initiatives together. And most importantly, we have watched our kids grow up together. And I'm so grateful to be sharing this special day with all of you. And then I have some special words for our confirmands who are not in the room yet but are listening, I've been told. Even under ordinary circumstances, there are so many reasons to say no to continuing your religious education after bar and bat mitzvah. Right? Once you get to high school, the workload just explodes. Sports and extracurricular activities take so much time. But you had these extra challenges to face, right? A global pandemic, your entire 9th grade year on Zoom where you couldn't even be together with your classmates, all the trips that normally happen in 9th and 10th grade canceled. And then when you were finally able to return to in-person learning on our campus this year, no chips and guacamole. And yet, despite all the reasons to say no, you all made a conscious choice to say yes. Yes to prioritizing your Judaism, yes to continuing with your religious education, and yes to continuing to remain connected with this temple community. And so I hope that you are all as proud of yourselves as we all are of you tonight. We so look forward to learning from you and being inspired by you. Mazel tov to all of our confirmands and their families. Thank you. In the old days, we had matches, but now technology. Press both?
No, press that. It was easier.
Exactly. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Yom Tov.
Hi, my name is Will Sonneborn, and welcome to the 2022 Leo Beck Temple Confirmation Service. Today, I will be playing a piece called Musica Caida by Federico Mompau. This piece is written without dividing breaks in the measures in the music. This means that the piece has no rhythmic structure, and the whole piece, rather than parts of it, are the completion of an idea. While thinking of this, I found that the song reflects my way of thinking of connecting to Judaism. Often, I find little or no connection to the regimen and prayer structure in Judaism. Yet when I find myself in control of when and how I pray, I find there to be more meaning in what I'm asking for. Whether it is alone or with people that I trust, I find that the most meaning comes to my Judaism when I pray when I want to. In a way, this service reflects my thoughts on Judaism, as me and my classmates all chose both the prayer songs and the projects that we are performing tonight. I hope you enjoy my rendition of Musica Caida, and we are so excited to show you what we've been working on. Please rise for the Baruch Hu on page 3.
You may be seated.
Shalom. My name is Lila, and I have the pleasure of sharing my project with you this evening. In her groundbreaking and inspirational song, Both Sides Now, Joni Mitchell analyzes clouds, life, and love from what she considers both sides, examining the fundamentals of living from both up and down, positive and negative, black and white. Similarly, I've looked at Judaism from two opposing sides, interpreting Torah word for word and trying to apply it to my life, but also distancing myself from Judaism, connecting only to one side of it, the community and traditions, pushing away the rest. In the end, like Joni Mitchell, it was the in-betweens, the illusions that I remembered and connected to the most. While from one side, I felt like I was being force-fed answers to unanswerable questions of life, of death, of God, of love. From the other, I felt like I was forbidding myself to ask any questions at all. Ultimately, neither extreme worked for me, and instead, one of the biggest parts of Judaism I've grown to appreciate this year is religion being a place where I can feel comfortable analyzing, but not assuming, through studying Jewish texts and debates, as well as through my classmates' interpretations. LBT has become somewhere I can come to terms with questions, rather than ignoring them or answering them with assumptions, exploring rather than solving. This song exemplifies my journey as a Jew and accepting that we don't know everything about life, as well as the role music has played in it. I hope you will enjoy my rendition of Both Sides Now. These robes aren't perfect for everything. 1 second. All right. Rose and flows of angel hair and ice cream castles in the air and feathered canyons everywhere. I looked at clouds that way, but now they only block the sun. They rain and snow on everyone. So many things I would have done, but clouds got in my way. I've looked at clouds from both sides now, from up and down, and still somehow it's clouds illusions I recall. I really don't know clouds at all. Moons and Junes and Ferris wheels, the dizzy dancing way you feel as every fairy tale comes real. I've looked at love that way, but now it's just another show. You leave them laughing when you go, and if you care, don't let them know. Don't give yourself away. I've looked at love from both sides now, from win and lose, and still somehow it's love's illusions I recall. I really don't know love at all. Tears and fears and feeling proud to say I love you right out loud. Dreams and schemes and circus crowds. I looked at life that way. But now old friends, they're acting strange. They shake their heads, they say I've changed. Well, something's lost, something is gained. In living every day, I've looked at life from both sides now, from win and lose, and still somehow it's life's illusions I recall. I really don't know life at all. Please join me on the top of page 4. Hail the hand that scattered space with stars, wrapped whirling world in bright blue blanket air, made worlds within worlds, elements in earth, souls within skins, every one a teeming universe. Every tree a system of semantics, and pushed beyond probability to place consciousness on this cooling crust of burning rock. Oh, praise that hand, mind, heart, soul, power, or force that so enclosed, separated, limited planets, trees, humans, yet breaks all bounds and borders to lavish on us light, love, life, this trembling glory. Baruch atah Adonai Hama'ariv Aravim.
Please join me on the bottom of page 4. And praised be thou for the Torah. Like stars in the night, its teachings shine through dark and dangerous ages. In every generation, in the wilderness of careless living, our people searched for you, for meaning, and for the path of conscience. So much of what we are and should be lies in the Torah, curled up, gently, patiently waiting to be found by us. Let us embrace the Torah as did our ancestors. May it be for us a beacon of righteousness and justice, of truth and compassion, bringing light to our world, to our families, and into the deepest recesses of our souls. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Growing up as a Jew in a city like Los Angeles has opened my eyes to the true vastness of my religious community. I've been influenced in Judaism by many things, whether it be my temple, explicit symbols like challah and wine, song and prayer, my experiences in Israel, or just the world in itself. These have all contributed to me being a Jew, which is why I featured them on this piece about my Jewish identity. However, the centerpiece of this art and the centerpiece of my character are the people around me in my community. This component is a compilation of Jews who have not only directly but indirectly affected my life. It includes photos of friends from school whose companionship, humor, and joy have made a positive impact on my character and upbringing as a person. In addition, Jewish family members who have supported my mission through Jewish education, made me able to learn and celebrate holidays. And lastly, the clergy and religious school teachers who have not only taught me about Torah, songs, and what it means to be Jewish, but also were there for me as trusted adults. I've decided to compile all of these people who felt comfortable being photographed into a sort of brick-like layout sculpted onto my face. A sort of surreal image, but it gives the idea that these people, or at least this type of person, have been a core structure for my life. Always building me up and never bringing me down. I am who I am because of them. Please rise for the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Please be seated.
This evening, I'm going to be playing piano for this confirmation. The name of the song I'm playing is called Stay by Hans Zimmer, or better known as the main theme for the movie called Interstellar. I've chosen this piece because for the first time I listened to it, I felt a very strong connection to it. There are a few reasons that this piece relates to my experience with Judaism. We use songs and prayers to come together as a community. We use melodies to portray emotion. We use these different melodies to make people feel more connected to the prayer. It helps people relate to it in one way or another. I chose this song because it made me feel a range of emotions rather than just one. This song brings together all of the emotions into some sort of a community. They work together in the same way we do. A place like Leo Beck feels like my second home. I always feel most connected when I'm in an environment where everyone has something in common. I also have many Jewish friends at school and outside of school that I have a strong connection to. I'm playing this musical piece for all of our Jewish community. Thank you. Please join me in the Ve'ahavta. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol avacha v'chol nafshecha v'chol meodecha v'chayu hadvarim cha'elech asher anochi metzavecha chayom elevavecha Veshinanta lavanecha vedibarta bam veshivtecha ubetecha uleftecha vaderech ushokpecha uvkumecha ukjartam leot ayadecha vechayule tov beinenecha ukchartam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tiskeru vasietem et kol mitzvotai vietem kedoshi Elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher motzeiti etem ve'eretz Mitzrayim leot lachem Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem.
Hello, my name is Jesse, and in my confirmation project, there's one big thing I wanted to show. How music, melody, and community gives life to my Jewish being. Throughout my history of living, I've gone through phases of what I thought being a Jew meant. From textbook definition to some obscure things that sound like conspiracy theories, it's been everywhere. I'd look back on it day after day, and eventually, I developed an understanding of my own definition. There's nothing more Jewish to me than being with friends, family, with other people, and just being yourself. To me, I find myself in music, and that's the medium I've chosen, combining Jewishness through my band. This is a little song we're playing called Take Me Out by Franz Ferdinand, and it's the physical representation of all of this. Being around people you care about and doing the things you love. The act of being together is what I look for when I think of being a Jew, what being a Jew is, and I wanted to share it with you all. Enjoy.
So if you're lonely, you're not only here with her, just across there. I'm just a shot away from you, and if you leave here, you leave me broken, shattered. Just across there, I'm just
Please join us in the Micha Mocha on page 6.
Hello. As you all know, my name is Sydney, and I am so excited to be here at Leo Beck Temple for my confirmation service this evening. This 10th grade year at Leo Beck has by far been my favorite of the 6 years I have attended religious school here. Not only have I gotten to know my classmates and the rabbis better, but I have also had the opportunity to think about and understand my connection to Judaism and this community at LBT. This year in class, we studied our relationships with God, Judaism, ourselves, and each other. And while I could go on for a long time about every single one of these categories, the one I chose to focus on today was my relationship with God, which has taken me the longest to understand. Everyone in the world perceives God in a different way, and honestly, I'm still not sure how I feel about God. In an attempt to discover where I feel most connected with God and Judaism, I decided to write a poem about my experience. In one of our classes with Rabbi Bernie, we read about different Jewish philosophers. The philosopher who most impressed me was Martin Buber. He said, "When two people relate to each other humanly and authentically, God is the electricity that surges between them." I chose to write a poem about this feeling of electricity, from which I hope you all can learn a bit more about me, and I also hope you can think about these spark moments that occur in your lives as well. Enjoy. The Spark, by me, Sydney Sohn. What is God? Who is God? Where is God? Why should I believe in God? What even is the question I should be asking? Is God a ruler or a creator or a gift giver? What if God is not a person, not a spirit, not a thing, but a feeling? God is a spark. The spark of the fire being ignited to make s'mores, the spark of possibilities. The spark that I felt while laughing late at night with my cabin mates, my first summer at Camp Thunderbird, knowing they would become lifelong friends. The excitement I felt when I finally picked the song Till Forever Falls Apart to choreograph my solo to for an upcoming performance. The spark of the sizzling oil as I fried sufganiyot to celebrate Hanukkah with my friends. The flicker of an idea, thoughts that bubble within me, an idea about how to design a spread for the yearbook, waiting to overflow from my head through my voice. The spark of bravery that I had to become a chaplain at my school, to use my voice to become seen and to step out of the shadows of fear. But still I wonder, is God the glimmering sun shining down upon me as I hike with my friends? Is God the voice I hear inside my head? Is God the ominous clouds on a misty day painting a rainbow in the sky? These questions existing merely to remain unanswered, asked to remain unknown. Is God the spark I feel when I top a route in the climbing gym, having completed the puzzle, all the pieces assembled? feeling powerful because I am on top of this world in which I exist as one of many people with their own stories, their own lives. The voice within encouraging me to leap outside my comfort zone and volunteer for Guide Dogs of America, to make a difference. Having a deep conversation and becoming vulnerable. Opening my heart to those who care, even if it hurts, even if it is hard. The spark I feel when I am reminded that I matter and that I am not alone. Not a person, not a spirit, not a thing, but a feeling. When I feel that glimmer of hope, that ray of creativity, that breath of enthusiasm. That is God. That is God telling me, telling all of us, that it will be okay. Thank you. Please rise and join us in the Amidah on page 7.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, Vezocher Hasdei Avot Ve'imahot, Umevi Gula Livnei Bneihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Bezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechaye HaKol Atah, Rav Lehoshia, Morid Hatah, Mechakel Chaim Bechesed, Mechaye HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somach Novlim Veroveh Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Micha Mocha Bagevurot, Umidom Melach, Melech Memit Umechaye, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah l'chayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechaye hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim bechol yom, Ya'alelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. We continue in silent prayer, and when you are ready, you may be seated.
Sydney spoke so beautifully about connecting to the divine as a spark. And I think in this moment, so many of us are lacking that spark when it comes to believing that peace is possible in the world. Never mind in the Middle East, never mind in Ukraine, like even here in the United States, where it is so divisive. It is hard to see the path forward, but one of the gifts of these students is to give us that spark, that sense that there is a possibility for a path forward. And this next song that we're going to sing on page 9, Ajivo Shalom Aleinu, was that spark for Palestinians and Jews hoping, ever hoping that there is a path to peace. So if you're someone who is having a hard time, be it with a lighter or whatever it is, to get that spark going, to find that spark in the world, to find that spark in your heart that you can believe, let us sing together this song of hope on page 9.
O Javo Shalom Aleinu, O Javo Shalom Aleinu, O Javo Shalom Aleinu, ve'al kulam. O Javo Shalom Aleinu, O Javo Shalom Aleinu, O Javo Shalom Aleinu, ve'al kulam. Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam Shalom. Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam Shalom. O Javo Shalom Aleinu, O Javo Shalom Aleinu, O Javo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. O Javo Shalom Aleinu, O Javo Shalom Aleinu, O Javo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam.
Hi everyone, I'm Kaylin. I started this project mildly directionless, with little more than vague stylistic inspirations. I started by loosely brushing out a self-portrait, and gradually added and overlaid more people and images and ideas as I would think of moments that felt like Judaism to me. The actual portraits are non-specific, as I was more so focused on trying to create the visual of community and interconnection rather than trying to capture a specific likeness. However, certain elements, like the possum in the bottom right-hand corner, are representative of real anecdotes. That particular memory was from the night of Jesse and Alexis's B'nai Mitzvah, where me and Milo encountered a possum outside the venue. Meanwhile, the sequins bedazzling certain areas of the canvas are a reference to my Torah portion from my Bar Mitzvah, which spoke of the tabernacle and the uniforms of the priests, which featured brightly colored gemstones. The top middle portion forms a sort of backbone of the piece, which was meant to symbolize the structural and ritual elements of Judaism, holding everything else in place. My process was very spontaneous, and I ended up using a lot more color than I originally intended. During the early stages of the project, I used mostly blues, some reds, and some very faded purples, but I discovered that those wouldn't be enough to represent everything I wanted to communicate, and I expanded my palette accordingly with each element. All these different ideas culminate into something like an illustrated stream of consciousness. The ideas are somewhat just disjointed, but come together to form something bright and confusing, yet playful and sentimental, which I hope can adequately communicate what I feel to be my Jewish identity. Thank you.
Our Torah service can be found on page 9. Please rise.
Ve'al הכבוד, מי יוזמלך הכבוד, אדוני צבאות, ומלך הכבוד,
In this scroll is the secret of our people's lives from Sinai until now. It teaches our love and justice, goodness and hope. Freedom is its gift to all who treasure it.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
You may be seated.
Ronald Reagan once said, "I have wondered at times what the Ten Commandments would have looked like if Moses had run them through the U.S. Congress." This week for Shavuot, we read a selection from Parashat Bamidbar in the book of Exodus, where the Israelites received the Ten Commandments from God. The Ten Commandments are a list of 10 guiding laws the newly freed Israelites follow for fear of punishment from God. As described in the Torah, there was no room to question or challenge the commandments. They were inscribed in stone at Mount Sinai. They just are. We, as citizens of the United States, as students at our respective schools, and as employees in various jobs, have other rules we have to follow. But none are commandments. They are rules, they are laws. So what distinguishes the Ten Commandments from ordinary rules and laws? If the commandments are followed, one is blessed, and if not, they are cursed. The Ten Commandments were given to the Jews after they had just escaped enslavement in Egypt. They were at the beginning of 40 years of their time in the desert, wandering toward the Promised Land. The rationale for the commandments was to present a framework for a new society. The Jewish people were seeking to create a society from scratch. If people followed the Ten Commandments, then not only would they be blessed, but the society around them would function better. Over the next thousands of years, society itself has become more complex, and thus we needed to revisit and adapt. As the world changed, so did how we made sense of the commandments. Change is happening all around us, so it's up to us to change our rules. We're lucky to live in a democratic society where those over the age of 18 are allowed to have a say in what laws or rules are made. If we don't like the rules being made, we can vote out leaders who make those rules, replacing them with more favorable ones. We can even vote on the rules sometimes, themselves, as propositions on ballots allow each person to vote on legal measures. When I was in elementary school, we as a class would make rules together, and then would all agree to follow them. I would follow them because I myself created them. I had a say in what happened, and if I agreed to it, I couldn't go against it. I got to see how rules were made and how much thought and effort went into making rules. Although I don't remember specific rules from 4th grade, I do remember the pride I felt in helping to craft the rules. I remember that I bought into the rules, that I believed in the rules more than I otherwise would have, because I was one of the framers. I looked at the rules from the standpoint of those who made them. Instead of being told what to do, I knew why I had to do it. I may not have wanted to follow all the rules, but I understood it was created by the entire class, and I was a part of it. This process itself is a taste of what living in a democratic society might look like. If only most of us had that investment and buy-in in our country today. You do not need to be a precocious 4th grader to know when we involve ourselves in how rules are made, we are more likely to work and to support those rules. For years, I have participated in LBT's Get Out the Vote efforts. It is not enough to preach involvement. We must also find the place to show up ourselves so we can create that sense of ownership. This begs the question, What is the right way to combat leaders who go against with what you agree with, the pharaohs of the world? It is a reminder that you have to be engaged to feel that sense of ownership. And that is not about watching cable news all day and mourning the world around us. It is about taking what we have and making it better. Let your voice be heard. Protest. Vote. Vote for those you agree with. Vote for those measures that you want. The best way for our democracy and for Judaism to progress is for everyone to have a say in it. Thank you.
As you learned from Yona and our other students, they are quite a motivated class. They are self-starters and they know how to make things happen. No water for a car wash? Fine. They stepped up the bake sale. Sold out of bake sale items because their treats were so awesome. Found a way to bake more in the LBT kitchen within 1 hour. Can't go to DC on the annual confirmation trip. Threw themselves wholeheartedly into our confirmation retreat in LA and even helped brainstorm the itinerary. They are the quintessential movers and shakers, and really they could have planned this entire night and led this entire service without any of the clergy members actually being present. But what I love about this class the most is their goodness and their ability to think deeply. They wrestled with big existential questions that most adults are too afraid to confront, like what is our purpose and who or what might God be in our lives? And they did this with rigor and with curiosity and with such authenticity and thoughtfulness. They are each unique souls with unique talents, as you've all experienced tonight. And together, they're not only so much fun to be around, but they are also a force to be reckoned with. And so it has been an honor and a privilege to get to be one of your teachers this year. We look forward to continuing to learn with them and Baruch Hashem, traveling to DC next year. And it is my honor to call to the Torah the confirmation class of 5782.
Yandu Hakita Confirmacia Laliata Torah. Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bahar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu Et Torato Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. We are reading the Ten Commandments on Shavuot, so I'm going to invite you to please rise.
Vaydaber Elohim kol hadvarim ha'elai lemor Anochi Adonai Elohecha asher hotzeiticha me'eretz Mitzrayim mibeit advadim.
Lo yelecha Elohim acherim al panai. Lo ta'aselecha besel bechol temuna asher bashamayim mimal basher ba'aretz mitachat basher bashamayim mitachat la'aretz.
lo tishachave lachem velo tevim. Sorry. Kanuhim Adonai Elohecha El Kanach Pokei. Sorry, I forgot a word.
Avon avot al banim al shilashim ve'al ribeim lason I ve'oseh chesed la'alafim le'havai u'shomrei mitzvotav.
Lo tisach et Shem Adonai Elohecha lashav ki lo yanakeh Adonai et asher yisach et Shemo lashav zachor et Yom HaShabbat lekadesho sheshet yamim ta'avod ve'asita Cho melachtecha.
Yom Hashvi'i Shabbat Ladonai Elohecha Lo Ta'aseh Kol Melecha Ata Uvinha Uvitecha Avdecha Ve'amatcha Uvhemtecha Zegereha Asher Bishareha Ki Sheshet Yamim Asa Adonai Et Hashamayim Ve'et Haaretz.
Et hayam ve'et kol asher bam vayanach vayom hashvi'i al kain ve'rach Adonai et yom hashabbat vaykadeshehu kabed et avicha ve'et imecha lema'an ya'arichun yamecha al ha'adama Asher Adonai Elohecha noten la.
Lo tirtza, lo tinaf, lo tignov, lo tane vereacha et shaker, lo takmod beit re'echa, lo takmod eshet re'echa. Ve'avdo ve'amato v'shoro v'chamoro v'chol asher l'reyecha.
Amen.
We prepare to return the Torah to the ark, again, if you are able. And we invite you to please rise.
It's time Lamachazikim ba
Confirmation class of 5782. What an extraordinary ride you have taken us on tonight and all year. I feel like I have to try my best to describe it to your families and to our congregants who are celebrating Shavuot with us tonight, both here in our sanctuary and at home via live stream. Now, you parents may be shocked to hear this, and students, my sincerest apologies in advance, there you are, for outing us like this, outing you guys like this. But the confirmation class of 5782 was perhaps the most endlessly good-spirited group of teens with which I have ever worked. It may seem shocking. I mean this, parents. They literally never showed up copying an attitude, no matter what you may have gotten on the car ride over here. They were incredibly open and receptive, and not just to what we were teaching them, but more importantly, also to one another. And it is exactly as Rabbi Bernie described. You know, when we would ask a question about any of the challenging life topics of Jewish values and faith that we studied this year, being the teacher of this group was more like turning the ignition on a self-driving vehicle. Rabbi Bernie, Rabbi Ross, and I really only had to facilitate the conversation. You were always reliably ready to be the conversation. And tonight, for all to see and hear and feel, you brought that conversation to us. You did it with your creativity and with your teenage boldness, with your loyalty to our tradition, and with your iron will to make this tradition speak in new ways, in a new day. And that is precisely why we invited you to lead our congregation's service on the evening of Shavuot, one of the most important days of the entire Jewish year, equal in significance to the Passover Seder, to the commemoration of Sukkot, greater in significance than Hanukkah or Purim, believe it or not. And why? Because there's only one time that our people stood at Mount Sinai and received the gift of Torah. Tonight is the commemoration, the anniversary of that precise moment. Our tradition teaches that each one of us is to see ourselves as if we are the ones going forth from Egypt into freedom, as if we are the ones standing at Sinai in that defining moment of the birth of Torah. Tonight, you, our confirmands, you sculpted Sinai for us. You ascended the mountain while we stood at its base, and you brought us Torah as we had never seen it before. So what can we bring to you on this night of celebration and learning and growing? What can we bring to you on this Chag HaBikurim, this festival of offerings, on which we are to bring our best as a statement of our gratitude to God? The more apt question surely is, what wouldn't we bring to you? We are your parents and your grandparents, your siblings and other relatives. We are your close friends and schoolmates. We are your teachers. And we are the members of your community who share the comfort that you have here in this sanctuary and at this temple. What wouldn't we bring to you on this night of blessings? Of course, our fondest yearning would be to bring you a different world than the one that you're inheriting as young adults. Regrettably, we haven't been able to make that happen. Other groups of 10th graders have ascended Sinai before us amid times of war and heartbreak. But this year's visit to the mountain comes at a time of greater despondency than even us grown-ups can remember at any time in our lives. The thought of such a time being your time to be teenagers whose spirits should be free and unburdened when dreaming about your future. The thought of these times being your time pains us greatly. Throughout this year, we have talked about the most important issues in your lives, all amidst a backdrop of continued violence, both near and far, and mounting fear about the state of our nation and even of the planet itself. Sadly, you are growing up in dark times. And I'm afraid that we're going to need your help to find the light. But as we look to you now to join us in that search, there are certainly many offerings that we can bring to you. We bring you our love and our respect. You are 8 distinct individuals. You each have your own voice, your own message to share. You are teenagers, which means that the message sometimes comes out loudly and angrily, sometimes softly and doubtfully, sometimes clearly and confidently. Tonight, we offer you our gift of patience and honor as you hone that special and needed voice of yours. But along with our affection and our loyalty and our deep belief in you, even at those times when you don't much believe in yourself, tonight we celebrate bringing you the gift of Torah. We give it to you, on your bar and bat mitzvah day, we placed it in your arms, but it looked a little uncertain there, as it would in the arms of any 13-year-old. Today you are climbers to the summit of Sinai. You are deep into that lifelong ascent, that yearning to get up that mountain again and again and again. And that Torah looks to be quite safe in your arms and in your minds and in your hearts. There is a midrash, an ancient rabbinic legend, about a teacher who gave 2 students a measure of wheat as a gift and then left them. When the teacher returned, he went to visit each student. The first one was busy cleansing the wheat and grinding it into flour so that he could knead it into dough and then with it bake bread. The second one was just sitting in his house. The teacher asked him what he had done with his wheat. And he replied, "I put it in a jar for safekeeping." One took the gift and made it into nourishment. The other left it as it is. It is not a coincidence that Shavuot celebrates the spring harvest as well as the receiving of Torah at Sinai. After all, if you really think about it carefully, they are one and the same. Both the land and our Torah provide us with a harvest that can sustain us. But receiving the Torah is one thing. Cleansing it and grinding it and kneading it and baking it into something that sustains is quite another. So, we bring you Torah tonight, confirmands of 5782. We bring you the harvest, fresh from the field. What becomes of it, that is up to you. Our most sincere prayer is that as you grow older, as you head off to college, which to you I know feels like it's many AP classes away, but it is going to happen far sooner than you will ever believe. And as you make your own way in this world, you will keep on doing the grinding and kneading and fashioning of the Torah, just as you did tonight. Use your minds and hearts and ideals and your willfulness to convert the harvest of Torah into a feast that will feed us all during this time of profound spiritual and ethical hunger in the world. Tonight you read from a Torah scroll that almost never leaves our ark and even less frequently is read. We use it only rarely because it is especially fragile, as you know. See, it also has a voice and a message to be heard. That scroll that you brought to life tonight, it tells us of Czechoslovakia in the 20th century. It is one of 1,564 Torah scrolls that were rescued from the Nazis who had stolen them as they destroyed synagogue after synagogue. Its former home, that Torah scroll, was destroyed. Its former students were murdered. And the Nazis had planned on placing it in a permanent exhibition of the works of, as they put it, an exterminated ethnographical group. Us. That scroll, it is speaking to you tonight. It is saying, I was supposed to be here. You were not. It is saying, look at me. Look at my smoke-damaged parchment and know that it has been dark, very dark before, and the light of humanity's courage and resilience overwhelmed the darkness. We look to the aid of you, and we know in our hearts that the light will overwhelm the dark again. Watching you, our confirmands, reading from that scroll, which emerged from its own deep dark, you have offered us a sacred assurance tonight that you will help us find light amid the darkness through which we now walk. So, above all the offerings that we bring to you this evening, we bring you our blessing. Brucha at b'voech, v'rucha at b'tzeitech. Baruch atah b'voecha u'baruch atah b'tzeitecha. May all of the journeying that you'll do throughout your lives be filled with holiness. May you continue to grind and knead and fashion Torah for tomorrow. And may the light of that Torah, light that you have shared with us on this night, light that you will discover for us in so many ways over the days to come, light we so deeply need. May your light bring warmth and healing and goodness to every corner of this world that you will touch. Amen. We are going to call forward each of the members of the confirmation class of 5782 to receive a special personal blessing at the Ark. During the time that they are receiving those blessings, I want to direct your attention to some additional jewels that they have prepared for you on this night. If you look at pages 18, 19, and 20 in our prayer booklet, you will find personal statements written by each of the members of this class. Statements about their journeys to this day and the visions that they hold for the journeys that lie ahead. I invite you to linger in their words as they receive their moment of blessing, and it's my great pleasure, of course, as well, to invite forward Laura Gottlieb, our Vice President of Lifelong Learning, to join Rabbi Bernie in presenting certificates to the members of our confirmation class after they receive their blessings.
Lila Brigard. Yona Cohen. Gibson Lopez de Hulse. Jesse Capel. Sydney Stone. Will Sonneborn. Alexis Capel.
With our hearts filled with joy and pride in these 8 students who have awakened the voice of Torah in our hearts and helped us to see that light that will banish darkness. We are going to join together in singing the blessing for sacred moments. The words, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehachianu, v'kiyamanu, v'higianu lazman hazeh. They mean, we praise you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who has given us all the gift of life and sustained us through this crazy time so that we might join together for confirmation for the first time in 3 years inside this sanctuary. So we don't take for granted being sustained in life. Sustained so that we might rejoice on this night filled with blessing. I want to invite Rabbi Bernie and Cantor Cates and Rabbi Ross to come forward and join me, and let us all sing together in gratitude. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehecheanu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh.
Before starting, I just want to give a shout out to Sydney here, who made a phenomenal slideshow to go along with her poem that was a little bit compromised due to Wi-Fi issues. It's crazy, we're not on Zoom and we're still complaining about Wi-Fi issues. But I just want to give her a shout out to say that you did an amazing project. I'm sorry we weren't able to experience all of it, but thankfully it's back up for our little spiel. I think we can speak for our entire class by saying that throughout this year of confirmation, our views on religion and what it means for us to be Jewish have changed significantly. When we were unable to take the Latakin trip to Washington, D.C. in March, our class took a trip to the Dolores Mission Church in Boyle Heights, where we got the chance to talk to the youth there, as well as their father, Father Brendan, who led an inspirational conversation about how Dolores Mission has impacted the city around it throughout the past decades.
Inspired by its congregants, years ago, Dolores Mission began actively supporting and lifting up its community by offering free meals once a week to those in need, allowing homeless to sleep in their buildings for shelter at night, and by converting part of their property into a preschool, giving parents who are struggling financially the opportunity to find jobs. Later, they founded Homeboy Industries, an organization that has grown to become the largest gang rehabilitation program in the world. Inspired by their congregants' interpretations of Bible readings about opening doors to those who couldn't find homes or supporting a neighbor in need, Dolores Mission Church took it as a necessity to answer this calling and lift up all those living in Boyle Heights.
We are inspired by their determination to use every inch of their church's property to its fullest potential, fulfilling what we might consider tzedakah, day in, day out. While our temple has way more space and fortune than Dolores Mission, we do not execute nearly the same support and lifelines to our city. Inspired by Dolores Mission, we decided to make a small first step of supporting and lifting up our own community, starting with those here at LBT who aren't always given the same opportunities as many of our congregants.
Looking back at our religious school experience, a highlight every year was going on the 3rd through 7th grade retreat, where we had the opportunity to bond with each other while climbing on ropes courses 30 feet in the air, tie-dyeing t-shirts, doing Israeli dances, and hiking in nature. For our confirmation gift, we wanted to make sure that every religious school student has the same opportunity by creating a 3rd through 7th grade religious school retreat scholarship fund.
To raise money for these scholarships, our class planned a bake sale, selling an array of delicious homemade treats, as well as some last-minute items baked here in our very own Leo Beck kitchen, to other religious school students and parents. In just one day, we raised $551, which is enough money to help several students to attend camp on both full and partial scholarships who have never been and who need financial assistance in order to do so. Thank you so much to everyone who helped donate money to this very meaningful cause. This completely surpassed our initial goal, and we hope that it will make a significant difference in these children's lives.
I invite you once again to please rise for the Festival Kiddush on page 14. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'am, v'romemanu mikol lashon, v'kiddishanu b'mitzvotav, v'atiten lanu Adonai Eloheinu be'ahava, moadim lesimcha, chagim uzmanim lesason, et yom chag hashavuot hazeh, zman matan toratenu mikra kodesh, zecher litziat mitzrayim, kivanu v'acharta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, umoadeh kodshecha, v'simcha u'v'sason, hinchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh Yisrael, לשפר לדון הכל, לתקן ולעוצר בראשית, שלא עשינו כגויי הרצות, ולא זמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונה, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר לאדוני למלך כל הארץ, ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא, יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד, ושמו אחד, ושמו
Yes, in every generation, we are to see ourselves as the ones who go forth from Sinai. That means that journey to Sinai and from Sinai with Torah in our arms has been going on for 100 generations. There are those who no longer journey with us in body, but who are very much a part of our ascent each and every year, in spirit and in memory. They are with us at all times. We feel them here in this sanctuary, or so many of them celebrated with us over the years. We think of them in our minds and in our hearts, in our families, those who we miss, but who we carry with us at all times. They too, a part of this moment of Simcha. And so we'll join together on page 16 in reciting the words of Kaddish Yatom, the mourner's Kaddish, and let us celebrate the powerful gift of influence that they continue to wield in our lives as we continue to write their Torah stories in our lives. I invite you, if you're able, to stand at this time. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divra chilutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dekol beit Yisrael, v'agala u'v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shemei rabbah mevarach le'alam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal, shemei dekudsha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran me'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. May the giver of peace, and peace to all who mourn, and comfort to each one of us as we always continue to remember. And let us together say, Amen. Stay right there, because we're just about to conclude our service with a beautiful closing melody, a prayer for each and every one of us as we go on our way. But I want to make sure that you understand that before you go on your way, I mean like really on your way, there are good things to nourish us. A beautiful Shavuot evening meal awaits us. And so that's taking place outdoors so that we can feel a little safer, being able to remove our masks and enjoy each other's company and a little nourishment for the body. So that awaits us very soon. But before we go to do that, I would like to invite Cantor Cates and Rabbi Bernie and Rabbi Ross to come forward one last time as we join together in our closing melody, Tfilat HaDerech, which you can find the words for on page 17.
as we go on our way. May we be guided in peace. May we be blessed with health and joy. May this be our blessing. Amen. Join with us, amen. 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 May this be our blessing. Amen. 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 May this be our blessing. Amen. May we be sheltered by the wings of peace. May we be kept in safety and in love. May grace and compassion find their way to every soul. May this be our blessing. Amen. 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 May this be our blessing. Amen. 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 May this be our blessing. Amen. Eloheinu ve'Elohei, Avotenu ve'Imotenu, our God who gathers us, who tethers us to those who have wrestled before us, may we absorb the wisdom, hope, and spirit of the confirmation class of 5782. May these young Jewish leaders continue on their path of wrestling and reinterpreting the mitzvot. Bless their comings and goings and let them feel your presence and love wherever they journey. May they go from strength to strength as they blaze a new trail, doing the sacred work of creating a Judaism that honors what came before them while looking ahead to the formation of a more just, fair, and compassionate world for all. Mazel tov to the confirmation class of 5782. Woo!